the officers I spoke with the night before this told me I need to go to the feds and try to get witness protection.
All right, let's take up State of Kansas versus Laura Mae Wells, case number 25 TR 1720. The state appears by Jared Regier. Miss Wells appears in custody from the Butler County Jail. You're here for a first appearance, Miss Wells. There are 3 charges, all alleged to have occurred on July 14th, 2025 in Butler County, Kansas. Count 1 alleges that you operated a motor vehicle on a public highway in the state of Kansas without having proper proof of insurance. That is no proof of insurance, and that is a Class B non-person misdemeanor. That carries a maximum penalty of 6 months in jail and up to a $1,000 fine. Count 2 alleges you are operating a motor vehicle with an expired tag or registration. First offense, that is an unclassified misdemeanor. That carries a maximum penalty of 30 days in jail and up to a $500 fine. Count 3 alleges that you were driving on the wrong side of a divided highway. That is a traffic infraction, and that carries with it a statutory fine. Do you understand your charges, Miss Wells?
I do.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
All right. How are you wanting to proceed on your case? Were you wanting to try to maybe visit with an attorney, or have you given it much thought yet?
I am fleeing from a domestic violence type of La Raza. It's a gang. There's been some issues with my ex and my sister. I came into some information about a murder that was committed in Lawton. My sister found out that anyways, it's chased me across the state. I was trying to get to a shelter in Topeka. There was an 18-wheeler in front of me.
All right, ma'am, I don't want you to say anything that might incriminate you. Do you want to consult with an attorney, or you don't have to? If you wanted some time to do that, I would give you that
I just
opportunity.
need to get out of here and get to my boys and get somewhere safe. The officers I spoke with the night before this told me I need to go to the feds and try to get witness protection.
Okay, well, let me go over what your options are today. You can enter a not guilty plea. Bond will be set, and you'll reappear at a later date for court with or without an attorney. You don't have to have an attorney. But if you wish to have one and qualify, I would appoint an attorney for you. You can enter a plea of guilty, which means you're admitting to the charges, and we'd proceed to sentencing. You could enter a no contest plea, which means you're not admitting to the charges. You're just choosing not to contest them. And if the court finds that there's a substantial legal basis, I would then find you guilty. Do you understand your options? Okay, we are taking a record, so you'll need to answer audibly, please.
Yes.
Okay. And knowing those 3 options, how do you wish to proceed?
What's going to get me back to my sons quickest?
Well, I can't necessarily speculate. Mr. Regier, what city do you live in, Miss Wells?
I was in Norman, but we had to leave there. We went to Dallas. They showed up in Dallas, and so I came here to Kansas. My next step was to go to Harbor House and get plane or bus tickets to somewhere further.
Do you have any ties to Butler County, Kansas?
No.
You're just passing through?
I'm just trying to get somewhere safe. Yes, I'm trying to.
All right. Well, here, here's what would happen. If you entered a not guilty plea, your case would be set over to a court date in September. And the court would then set a bond.
And I
If,
don't bond me out.
pardon?
I don't have anyone to bond me out.
Okay, well, that's something we'd have to discuss. If you entered a guilty or a no contest plea, then you would likely be, assuming the court finds there to be a proper factual basis, you'd be convicted, and we would proceed to sentencing. At that time, you could either receive a jail sentence, though I don't know what I can't tell you what I would do. Typically on these types of charges, barring extreme circumstances, there's not mandatory jail time, but there's always a controlling jail sentence that you could be placed on probation from and have to either report to a probation officer here locally, or in some circumstances it's non-reporting, but that would be something that'd have to be taken up if you're sentenced today. So if you wish to consult with an attorney.
That would take longer, right? I would have to wait longer in here.
Well, unless you were able to make bond.
Then just I'll plead guilty. I just need to get out of here and get to my boy.
All right, I don't want you to rush into a decision just because you're needing to get out, because I can't guarantee you what ultimately the sentence would be. You understand that?
The plan was for me to leave the car here and get on a bus. Honestly, this.
All right. So how are you wanting to proceed?
Guilty.
Okay, I'm going to need to, you wish to represent yourself? If you're wanting to represent yourself, I just need to make sure you understand that you have a right to have legal representation on these charges. If you can't afford an attorney, one would be appointed for you. If
That takes
you don't
long.
have to have an attorney, if you wish to represent yourself, I think the deputy there has a written waiver of counsel form you would need to read over and sign if you wish to represent yourself. That's entirely up to you. And Miss Wells, I understand you're upset and emotional. Are you thinking with a clear mind today? If you want a few minutes to think about this, I've got another case I would take up and then come back to you. Do you wish to need a few minutes to gather yourself?
Think anything's gonna change. I don't know. That officer last night, I was just trying to get to a shelter where we'd be safe.
Ma'am, I don't want to get into the facts of the case at this point. I just need to determine how you're wanting to proceed today.
Just
If that's
proceed.
Okay, in what manner?
I'll sign a waiver.
Okay, Deputy, do you have a waiver of counsel?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, could you present that to her? And Ms. Wells, I need you to read through that and make sure you understand everything. If you have any questions about it, please let me know.
No.
Just print there, read it, sign there. She signed it, Your Honor.
All right. Did you have any questions about the waiver of counsel you just signed, Miss Wells?
No.
And you wish to represent yourself?
Yes.
All right, I just want to make sure you're, other than being emotional and upset, are you thinking with a clear mind today?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of any liquor or intoxicating drugs?
No.
Do you understand that you have a right to a trial on these charges?
I need to get back to my boys as soon as possible. That is the only thing I can.
Ma'am, I need you to answer the questions I'm asking you. Do you understand that you have a right to a trial on these charges?
Yes.
Do you understand at trial, the state would have the burden to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt on each element of the charges?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you wanted to cross-examine the state's witnesses, you would have that right?
Yes.
Do you understand that while you can't be compelled to testify, if you wished to testify on your own behalf, you would have that right?
Yes.
All right, on the no proof of insurance charge, again, I stated that that's a Class B misdemeanor. That carries a maximum penalty of 6 months in jail
Mm.
and up to a $1,000 fine. There is a minimum fine of $300.
Uh,
Do you understand that?
yes. Can I have like a payment plan for that?
Well, we're not there yet.
Mm.
That's something we'll have to take up if the court accepts the plea and if you're sentenced. All right. Do you understand that in addition to the possible jail sentence, which on the Class B can be up to 6 months,
Mm.
on the unclassified misdemeanor on the expired tag could be up to 30 days. Do you
Mm.
understand that you could be ordered to serve that time?
Please don't do
That's an option of the court. Typically on these types of charges, you're not going to receive a jail sentence, but again, ultimately, that's an issue that would be taken up at the time of sentencing.
that. Okay.
And if you're not ordered to serve a jail sentence at this time, you could be placed on probation, which would be with one of our local probation offices, which would require, if it's a reporting probation, for you to meet with a probation officer and follow terms and conditions of probation that we will go over if we get to that point today. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And you understand that you'll be ordered to pay court costs, and if placed on probation, you'd have to pay probation supervision fees. Do you need a few minutes to gather yourself, Miss Wells?
No.
I'm going to give you a few minutes. I'm going to take a brief recess on your case, allow you to compose yourself and go over what we've been discussing. And I'm going to take up a different case and then we'll come back to you, okay? All right, we'll go back on the record in State of Kansas versus Laura Wells, same appearances as before. Miss Wells, are you wanting to continue to proceed with this attempted plea?
Yes.
Okay. And again, you're of sound mind and are emotionally able to move on?
Yes, sir.
All right. I've gone over your trial rights with you, the possible penalties that can be imposed. Do you have any questions about anything we've discussed so far?
No, sir.
I'm sorry, that was no?
No, sir.
Okay. Has anybody made any threats or promises to get you to enter into a plea today?
No.
Is your plea being made freely and voluntarily of your own free will?
Yes.
Are you entering a guilty plea because you are in fact guilty of each of these three offenses? Okay, was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, I'll need to go through each one of these charges individually. When you enter a guilty plea, you're saying you did in fact commit what you have been charged with. What makes you guilty of no proof of insurance?
I couldn't afford insurance. I was fleeing for my life, though. That vehicle was my only means to getting me and the boys to safety. But I did not have insurance.
All right, so did that occur? Where were you pulled over?
In El Dorado, I think.
In town or outside of town?
I'd had several cars following me. My sense of direction was a little off. I was scared. I'm not exactly sure where.
And this occurred earlier today on July 14th?
I called the police myself when it happened. I had stopped in El Dorado right before it happened and called the police and told them that there was two cars following me. And I was concerned about driving to Topeka in the dark. But the boys and I had been in the car since the day before, trying to find a shelter to go to. So I decided to go ahead and push through and try to get there.
Okay, Mr. Regier, can you, for purposes of a factual basis, tell me where this stop occurred?
I actually called myself. I wasn't pulled over.
Your Honor, as a preliminary matter, is the court find that the defendant has in fact successfully waived her right to counsel on the record?
Yes.
Very good, Your Honor. Your Honor, pursuant to the ticket in this matter, the ticket appears to refer to a stop occurring on I-35 southbound at milepost 76. The state's understanding is that is within Butler County boundaries, specifically on the northeast side of El Dorado, also in close proximity to El Dorado Lake. The ticket further refers to date of occurrence of July 14, 2025.
All right, thank you. All right, what makes you guilty of expired tag or registration?
In Oklahoma, it costs quite a bit to get your car tagged. I think mine at the current right now, it's about $12.50. I'm not working. I've been running from this particular issue for a few months, so I didn't have money to get it tagged.
Okay, so you've admitted that you didn't have valid insurance or a current tag or registration on the vehicle. Is that correct?
Sir,
Okay, and then what makes you guilty of driving on the wrong side of a divided highway?
I did in fact turn around. The 18-wheeler that was in front of me turned his lights off and stopped in the middle of the road and turned to the side. And there was 3 cars approaching behind me very fast. I was very concerned that it was an ambush. So I did turn my car around and called 911.
Mr. Regier, are there any police reports that would corroborate any of this information that Miss Wells has discussed as part of what was occurring apparently in the early morning hours today?
Your Honor, besides the ticket, I am showing another report in my file. Although based off of the statements made by the defendant on the record, the state would note on the record that it does have certain concerns under KSA 223302. However, if the court is prepared to proceed, I can certainly supplement the record as needed.
What's the statute you just cited?
KSA 223302, Your Honor.
Station.
Miss Wells, I'm having concerns about your level of competency here today.
I'm competent, Your Honor. This can be backed up. I have a criminal defense attorney in Oklahoma City that can back up what has been going on. I also, in Emporia, there is an officer there who can back up the fact that I was being followed. They actually escorted me to the county line the night before. I had been fleeing this from Texas. They in fact validated that there was vehicles following me. He sent his officers out to see. This can all be confirmed and validated. I've got the attorney's number.
I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to halt further proceedings on any sort of a plea. The court has not accepted a plea at this point. And I'm going to set this over to the expedited misdemeanor control docket for July 18th at 1:30 in front of Judge Lee. I'm going to appoint Darren Patterson to represent you. He's an attorney here in town.
Please don't make me sit in here any longer, sir.
I have concerns about your competency and your safety based on what you've been telling the court today. So that's just a few days from now, you'll be back in front of a judge with an attorney.
What about my boys? They've been through so much.
Well,
Oh, my babies.
so we need to establish some sort of a bond. Mr. Regier, what would be the state's request?
Your Honor, in this matter, the state would be requesting a cash or surety bond of the amount of at least $3,000. Based off of statements made on the record by the defendant, it would appear this is a defendant with little to no, if any, ties to Butler County, as well as based off the defendant's statements concerning her acts of travel recently. The state does consider this defendant a significant flight risk. Additionally, it is the state's understanding that this is a defendant with history of convictions out of a jurisdiction well outside the state of Kansas that the state considers relevant. Therefore, the state does respectfully submit that $3,000 cash or surety was appropriate.
Please, I have never been in trouble in my life. I'm not a criminal. I am just trying to get to safety. This organization, La Raza, feels like I have snitched. I went to the police about the murder, and my ex and sister are both heavily involved in them. I am just trying to get my sons and I to a safe location. I'm not trying to run from anybody or cause any trouble. We have been through so much.
I'm going to set bond at $5,000 cash or surety. As a condition of bond, you're not to leave the state of Kansas.
I can't bond out.
The hearing on July 18th at 1:30 will be by Zoom. Again, you'll have an attorney here with you. All right, Mr. Regier, is there anything else we need to do today on this case?
Not from the state's perspective, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Wells, do you have any questions?
I'm begging y'all not to do this.
Well, I think it's for your best interest Ms. Wells. I have concerns about your competency and your safety. So if there's nothing further, we'll be in recess. You are excused, Ms. Wells.